In the Business Courier centerpiece this week, the focus is on the jobs gap. Local companies desperately need workers, and earlier we talked about job training resources. Technical schools and career programs have never been more adept at offering exactly the kind of education and training that local companies need, including jobs like construction workers and electricians, which are some of the hardest to fill. But Greater Cincinnati's largest technical schools say they are constantly battling to find enough students to fill these jobs. And for that, you can thank Cincinnati's mothers. Business Courier editor Rob Dahmeyer continues our conversation with Laura Sage, director of Butler Tech Workforce Services. She's in the studio with Rob to talk about the mom factor when it comes to filling skilled trade jobs.
Peg, thanks so much, and thank you so much for being here, Laura.
You're welcome.
Before we talk about moms, and don't worry, we're not bashing mothers, just how tight is the market right now? How big of a demand are you hearing from companies?
There's an unbelievable demand. I was just meeting with one of the vice presidents for Rhinestall, and she was at a conference, and she had 6 other directors with her, and she said just with those 7 companies in Southwest Ohio, they could hire 1,000 people today.
But they're just not out there.
They're just not out there.
So, okay, so let's talk about the moms. When we talk about it, and it wasn't just you, we talked to some other people and they sort of had the same thing to say. What is it about mothers and technical schools and career training that doesn't work?
So first of all, we're not mom bashing,
right.
But research has shown that mothers are the main influencer when it comes to choosing whether to go to high school or excuse me, whether to go to college or whether to go into a career or the armed forces. So fathers are important too, but for whatever reasons, moms seem to just have a little bit more of an edge. So what we have found is sometimes people have this different idea. I always call it, you know, from the old movie Flashdance. They kind of have this idea that it's a flash dance, and it's not like that. When you go into manufacturing companies now, some of the workers actually are wearing lab coats. It's very robotics. It's things like that. So we're trying to change that image, and the only way we can really do it is by trying to get the word out and actually getting the moms to come into some of the manufacturing firms. So we've tried to do it in a number of ways. We've actually have gone out to, we went to Colerain High School football game because we know Colerain High School football is king.
Yeah.
So we went out there and we had our manufacturers actually came out before the football game, and we're talking to the moms and the dads, but trying to get them to see what it looks like and to share their experiences with them. So the other thing they often say is when you go to a high school graduation and you open up the program, we have all of the names of the students who are going to college and where they're going to college at. We never say this student has a really good job at this manufacturing company. So the jobs are out there. It's just trying to get people to go and visit and see what it's like. When I leave here today, I am actually going to one of our programs at Colerain High School, and the students are participating in a program where they're getting ready to just show off their skills.
Oh, wow.
And some of them are actually offered jobs on the spot. Last year there was a student who was offered 7 jobs.
7 jobs.
7 jobs on the same day. So it's out there. Now you can imagine being a senior in high school and it's January and 7 companies are coming after you. We had one student last year, was a female, and she actually was offered several jobs and she went with one of the major manufacturers, but she said, wait a minute, I still want to go to college. And they said, well, that's fine. Come, when you graduate, you can work for us part-time.
Oh, okay.
We'll pay for your way through college. And they gave her a $3,600 signing bonus.
Wow. So let's talk a little bit about pay. I know it varies, but for technical workers, is this a good living to be made?
It's a great living. So students coming out, it depends upon where you are going, but a lot of times they might come out starting to make $40,000 to $60,000 a year. There are some people in manufacturing, if they go into supervision, will make 6 figures. A lot of them can even if they're making $40,000, $50,000, they can add overtime to it. And I'm in administration. I work a lot of overtime, and I don't get paid for it, which is fine. But when you're into the skilled manufacturing, you actually do get paid for that overtime that you put in.
And so I guess the last question I have for you then is, are too many people going to college? I mean, that's a very general, broad question, but you're talking about there's a finite labor force here in Cincinnati. Our population isn't growing that quickly. Moving moving kids or people into what you're talking about means they're leaving or not going to be doing colleges.
Well,
is that
I
fair
think
to
what's
say?
happening in our world today is that we are allowing students to go to college to find themselves. And so I think we have to, as parents, as educators, and as a community, we have to kind of move it back a little bit. And we try to do that at Butler Tech. We try to get students in there to find their interest. So it might be that their career interest is a medical field. So they might want to be a doctor, they might want to be a nurse, they might want to be a nurse assistant. So whatever they want to be, we're not trying to say you have to be this or that. But a lot of times we wait until they're in college, and then they're spending all this money to discover that that's not what they want. So we know that more than half of the students who start college do not finish. And if they haven't been in a career technical program, they're graduating and they have no skills.
Well, that's a great way to end it. I think really the message we want to give to everybody is give these places like Butler Tech a look. It's very important that you do that before you start making these huge financial decisions that are going to impact you for the rest of your life. Laura, thank you so much for being here.